welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk. This is my first live stream in a long time. I used to do a live show on my channel, but then that kind of went by the wayside, mostly because the live streaming facility that YouTube used was quite frankly annoying, and the alternatives that we could find, things like OBS, were not that great either. So yeah, I'm now using StreamYard, thanks to Cody Leach, who started using it before me, and I've said it was the easiest streaming tool you could possibly hope to use. So here we are. Here's me using it. So tonight is basically just a test run. I just wanted to jump in the waters, see what it's like, use some of these tools, and I thought, well, why not have a Q&A? So if you do have any questions, I can see I've got a few people just in the chat. Troy, Dale, thank you for joining me. See if there's anybody else there. I know there's a few other people, but they're not they're not poking their heads in the chat at the minute. Oh, Hot Pockets Rock, yep. So if you're there, if you're watching, and you pop in the chat, Spook Lord, Wheelsmith, hello. If you have any questions, throw them at me, and I will endeavour to answer them. If I end up getting any super chats, it's probably unlikely. I don't think tonight's stream is going to be that busy because, like I say, it's not like I've well publicized it or anything. It was a bit of a spur of the moment thing, but if there are any super chats, obviously, if we get a load of people and asking loads of questions, it can be a bit like jumping at a bit to try and get them all answered. And if I should happen to miss any questions that have been super chats, then they will be followed up in a later video, just because, like I say, if you're throwing money at me, then you at least deserve to have your question answered. But I will try and answer what I can. So I've got to focus on what I'm saying, but I've got all these little gizmos at the side of me here that I want to test out as we're going along. So please excuse me if from time to time I end up just kind of zoning out because I want to do this. Oh, look at that, sweet. Yes. So we get things like that. We can have little pop-ups. So this is the kind of thing where if I had a team, if I had someone else helping me, if my channel was big enough, then I would hire someone to do this kind of thing. But I don't, so I've got to do it, which means there may be the occasional lull where I'm like, well, what am I doing here? Okay, so that is enough of my waffle. Let's go back to the chat, see what we've got going on. Where did I read up to? Troy, Brian, I just want to apologize. I don't know what that. Oh, right, name. Okay, never mind. So let's see what we've got. YouTube annoying. Yes. Speak loud. Hi. Wheelsmith. Hey, Lomax. Are you watching Smallville still? I am. Yes. Reviews will be coming for all the other seasons. The reviews for the first 5 seasons came pretty quick because I'd already reviewed all the episodes and stuff separately on a blog that I'd done years ago, and I kind of stopped after that. But I kind of used a lot of them plus rewatches to get my thoughts out. Whereas the last 5 seasons, they kind of require a bit of a rewatch from me and kind of some detailed notes before I make reviews on them. So they will come, but it's going to be a bit slower. And I may be doing something with Durban from Debania with regards to Smallville. We've had something cooking for a while. Nothing like absolutely set in stone, but just an idea we've kind of floated around that we're both Smallville fans. It's kind of an excuse to talk more Smallville if we ever do that. You may notice if you watch Debate News channel that he has just put up a review of the first season of Smallville. So I think that's part of his attempt to get going on it so that me and him can do our thing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ryan Webster, yo, hello. Gareth Kowalski, hello. Jordan Moran, hello. Let's see. Oh, where did that just jump to? Spook Lord, when you did the 25 horror movies, you mentioned Quarantine. Did you watch the Spanish film Rec, which is the original that Quarantine is the remake of? No, I didn't. I knew it was a remake, and I think perhaps my liking of the film, although I've never seen it again since I saw it at the cinema, but it did have quite a visceral reaction to me, in the best way that a horror movie should. And I remember that reaction that it got out of me. I remember feeling tense from pretty much from start to finish, and just there aren't a lot of horror movies that kind of get that kind of reaction from me, for whatever reason that did. And I feel like maybe it wouldn't if I'd have seen the original first. I know that when it, like, for example, The Ring, when I watched The Ring, I watched the American version first, and then I went and watched the Japanese one, the original, and I liked the American far more, and the Japanese one didn't get that much of a reaction from me, to be honest. I got quite bored, but it's practically the same film, and I think it is just, once you know what's coming, it kind of loses its impact. So again, nothing against Rec. I'm sure it's a brilliant film. I've heard that it is, and I think my feelings on Quarantine have to be taken in the vacuum of knowing that I hadn't experienced the original. Bit of a long-winded answer for you there. Dale, what's better, Terminator or RoboCop? That's not even remotely a challenge to answer that question, and I think you should know that. You should know better, Dale. Yes, Terminator, clearly Terminator. RoboCop doesn't even crack my top 100 movies. Terminator is kind of like a top 20 deal, and Terminator 2 is a top 10 kind of deal. So yeah, definitely Terminator. Let's just get rid of that because that's been playing for far too long. Okay. So let's see what else we've got here. Yeah, Terminator try, definitely. Francisco Gonzalez, Bryan, you are the man. Thank you. Dale, that's it. Okay, Dale, odd question, but what do you think was the best art upstream? I don't know. This is going to sound terrible, but because like when I do an art upstream, I'm just hanging out with my friends, so like CP and Cody are just good friends of mine, and so whenever we get together for one of them things, which I don't really put a right lot of work in, well, I'll tell you the truth, I don't put any work in, to be honest. It's usually CP kind of puts together a lot of the artwork for that, and then Cody does all of the this stuff that I'm doing now on here, the production side of things for the stream itself, and I just turn up and talk and rant. So I don't have an answer for you, because for me, I turn up and I talk with my mates. Yeah, I'm trying to think what we've talked about. The only things I can think that we've done our top streams on at the moment is the 31 on 31s, obviously, which are a big kind of deal for us. Have become a big deal for us each year now. So yeah, sorry, I don't know more than that. But yeah, let's have a look. Comments. I mean, I could ask you, what was your favorite art upstream? I mean, Dale, if you watch them, is the one in particular that stands out for you? Don't know. Let me know in the comments. Jeff Harris, thoughts on Birdman 2014? Also, which Keaton performance is your favorite? Michael Keaton is my all-time favorite actor. Well, Jeff, you should, if you've not already, go and check out Razor Wire Reviews. He's another channel on YouTube. Luke, he's Michael Keaton, I believe, is his favorite actor also. And he did a whole series of reviewing every Michael Keaton movie. So just throw a shout out there to Luke from Razor Wire Reviews. But no, I love Michael Keaton. I love Birdman. Again, a film I've only seen once, but it was very high on my list that year. You know, I think when I did a top 10, it may have been number 2 or even number 1. It's bizarre when you do those top 10s. It's interesting to go back to them, actually, to go back to the end of year top 10s you do and see which of the films you rank so highly have actually kind of bore repeat viewing. I think it's an incredible film, absolutely incredible film. I need to get around to watching it again. I do have it on Blu-ray. I bought it as soon as it came out, really, because I loved it. But there's only so many hours in the day, and there's constantly new films coming out. So it is tricky. Rewatches are pretty tricky these days, I find, personally. But my favorite Michael Keaton performance, I am a stickler for his Batman, because it was his Batman that got me into Batman. You know, Keaton's Batman is the reason I have all this behind me right now. That wouldn't be there if it wasn't for Keaton's Batman. But I do recognize that, you know, he's done performances in Birdman, for example. Like Batman is closer to my heart just because of what it means to me. But if I'm trying to be objective and say, well, what is literally his best performance, then I definitely think there's more in Birdman with regards to performance there, I think. So certainly a contender, I reckon. Right. So where are we? A lot of stuff going on here. Right. Okay. Francis Gonzalez, what do you think it'll take for Cody to finally give the Critters movies the respect they deserve? A lot of drugs, perhaps. I don't know. I don't. Well, if Critters 3 and 4 were on the level of 1 and 2, particularly 1, I think the franchise probably would get a bit more respect. But I don't know, maybe it wouldn't. I don't understand it myself. I think when the first one came out, people just literally took it as a Gremlins knockoff, which it was. I freely admit that. You know, they cashed in on that whole Little Monsters vibe that, you know, kind of ran rampant in the 80s with Gremlins and Ghoulies and Puppet Master and all those little monster type movies. But for my money, Critters was just the best one. And I think it's from a structural standpoint, from a logic standpoint, internal logic and all that, I just think it's a better film than Gremlins. Far and away a better film. Is it shot as well? Probably not. But from a storytelling standpoint, I think it definitely is. So I don't know why Gremlins gets all the love and the nostalgia and the appreciation, and Critters doesn't, which is annoying. But yes, I'm 31 on 31 is on its way. As long as that first film gets some love from CP and Cody and Sean Chandler, I believe, is joining us. I think. I can't remember. Did he say he was? Anyway, whoever's with us in that stream, man alive. As long as that first Critters film gets some love and it's in the top half and not the bottom half, I'll be happy. Because it's quite near and dear to my heart, it must be said. But yeah. Moving on. Ash Harry, other than Nolan, who for you is the most exciting filmmaker working today? I would have to say Denis Villeneuve. There's a few, I think Fincher is a great one. Aaron Sorkin for me, from a writing standpoint, he's moved into directing now with Molly's Game and a new one that he's just released, and he's coming to Netflix in a couple of weeks. I think it's had a limited run on the cinemas. A friend of mine has seen it and he loved it. Said it was absolutely brilliant, and I can believe it because I'm a huge Aaron Sorkin fan. His writing is just amazing to me. Yeah, but from a visual kind of standpoint, I think Denis Villeneuve is definitely up there. Fincher is definitely up there. Also, I can't remember the name of the guy. Let me just look this up because he deserves some more attention. He's only made 3 films. But whatever he does next, I will certainly be there to watch. So Jonathan Glazer. So he made Sexy Beast, then Birth, and then for me, what is an absolute masterpiece. And I'm looking at it here on IMDb, and it's got 6.3, which is mind-boggling. 6.3 out of 10. So Under the Skin with Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Glazer. You watch Under the Skin. That's the level of filmmaking right there that is like the next kind of Kubrick level of filmmaking. I know a lot of people will scoff at that, but incredible film, absolutely incredible. So just from that film, I'll definitely be looking out for anything he does next. Let's see what else. Hot Pockets. What's up, Bryan? I'm good, thank you. Jordan, good evening, Bryan. What older TV series that you've always meant to watch? Oh, blimey, where's that gone? I'm gonna have to get used to this. I did a slight move on my mouse and that disappeared. Sorry, Jordan. I will find you again. Where are you? Oh man, is it really that? I need to catch up. I need to play catch up, don't I? I see. I do this all the time, and this is why I gave the little proviso about super chats at the beginning, because I see the comments are racing ahead, and I'm just like dawdling along. So Jordan, yes, what older TV series that you've always meant to watch but never got around to is next in the pipeline? Well, I do have Breaking Bad. I'm told all the time just what a great series that is. I fear it's been overhyped a bit too much, but I bought it on Blu-ray, got the entire series for $12.99, which is a staggering deal, quite frankly. So yeah, I'll get on that. I'm currently watching Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman. I've been on a real Superman binge, to be honest, at the minute. I've just been watching a lot of on-screen iterations of Superman. I don't know why. I think it's the whole COVID thing, to be honest. I feel like I need something a bit more positive. You know, I'm a Batman guy. I'm a huge Batman guy. I've always been Batman over Superman, but at the moment, I think I just need a bit more hope. so I'm hitting Smallville and New Adventures of Superman and the Superman movies and all that. So yeah, there you go. Breaking Bad. Dale, I actually prefer the first RoboCop to the first Terminator, not going to lie. I think you're insane, pal. I really do. But I love you still, so don't worry about it. Nathan Oswald, Bryan, the Critters franchise is rough to get through. No, it's not. You lie. That first film is a classic. The second is a real fun ride. The third one, I can understand why somebody would say it's not a good film, but I enjoy it. I do, in a cheesy kind of straight to video way. Fourth film, again, I can kind of enjoy it if you look at it as like a very low budget forerunner to Alien Resurrection, which also stars Brad Dourif, funnily enough. But it's not good. For me, Critters is really all about that first film. That first film is great, and I don't say that with any kind of irony or anything. I genuinely believe it's a great film. The second one is just a good time. So you're wrong. It's not rough to get through. You've hurt my feelings. Spook Lord, do you love animated movies? I have a love-hate relationship with animated movies because I've watched a lot of animated movies, particularly having kids. You know, you have kids, that means you end up putting animated movies on. And, you know, there's loads where when I watch them, I get to the end of them and I'm like, yeah, it's a great movie. If I'm objectively reviewing that, that's like a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. You know, the Toy Stories, most of Pixar's output. Think about some of the Disney classics: Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast. All them, they're like 4 or 5-star movies. You know, a lot of the stuff I see today, the How to Train Your Dragon series, you know, the first 2 Kung Fu Pandas, that it's all them kind of things. You know, you watch them, I watch them, and I'm like, yeah, it's a 4-star movie, it's a 5-star movie. But if I'm going to my shelf and I'm trying to pick a movie, I don't want to watch an animated film. Like if there's a bunch of 4 or 5-star animated movies on the shelf, or, you know, like a 3-star live action film, chances are I'm going to pick the 3-star live action film. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. I don't know why I'm like that, but I do. It's just... So, like I say, I love animated movies when I'm forced to sit down and watch them. But if I have a choice, I don't choose to watch them. I will say, however, the proviso of that is the DC animated stuff, which, again, you know, I look at a lot of the DC animated movies are 3.5-star films, but I'll quite happily watch them multiple times over, you know, your Disneys and your Pixars and whatnot, which on an objective level are definitely better movies. So yeah, there you go. Dale, my favorite art upstream was the Christmas one where you got Lindsay to join. Yes, that was a very good one. Any stream where we get Lindsay to join, quite frankly, is a good one, because I just think that was a good band, good team, the four of us. I think we all bounce off each other really well. Harry Brady, hi Brian. Hello, Harry. Aaron Anderson, hi Aaron. Aaron is my latest patron. Thank you for joining, Aaron. It's a pleasure to have you on board, mate. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to check out his channel. Jeff Harris, I've got to check out his channel. That'll be in reference to Luke, I would imagine. So that was Razor Wire Reviews. Check out his channel. Tell him who sent you. Dale, we all know Brian's favourite Keaton performance is Jack Frost. What about Night Shift? Oh, Night Shift. Feel like I've seen that, but I don't know for sure. I'll tell you a couple of good Keaton films, actually. There's one called Gung Ho, which I believe is directed by Ron Howard. I only saw it once on TV when I was a lot younger, but I found it hilarious. Now, I've not seen it again since, as I say. It could be one of those where you watch it as an adult and you're like, oh, whoa, take those nostalgia glasses off. But I remember having a blast with that when I was a kid. But another one which I know is a good film, because I have seen it since childhood and, as an adult again, I've had a rewatch, and that is The Paper. That's a very good film. So, yeah. He's got some good movies under his belt, as Keaton. Will Smith, with all these Arrowverse universe, it is cool, but if don't have magic of Smallville, why do you think is like that? And do you watch The Boys? I've not watched The Boys. I want to. I keep seeing there's so many TV shows that come out. It seems like nearly every week there is something on, advertised on whether it's Amazon or Now TV or whatever, where I'm like, oh, that looks good. There's the one that's just come out now, a science fiction show, but it's just like, I know I'm not going to watch it, because look at all this. It's like, when this is a disease, all of this here, it's just like, when am I going to watch all this? I've got bags of DVDs down there, because literally I can't fit everything in my house. So I had to get rid of cases and bag up the DVDs. And it's just like, when am I ever going to watch them all again? If I sat down and watched everything I owned again, there's just not enough time. And I don't. And I have an affection for certain films and TV shows where, like Smallville there. I want to watch that again. I am watching it again right now. And it's just like, and it is that choice of watching something that, again, I know I love, and that is like going back home, if you want to be cheesy about it, or finding something new. And it's just like, I like repeat watches. I like viewing something I've seen before. But then again, I feel like I am missing out on all these shows. Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, all these. Oh, what was one just came into my head just then. Haunting of Hill House. I've just bought that on Blu-ray because I've heard so many good things about it. And I just feel like if I don't buy that on Blu-ray, I'm never going to watch it. So I've bought it, and one day I'll watch it. But all the Arrowverse stuff, I've not watched that either. And I think in answer to your question, I think the reason it don't quite have the magic is because of the oversaturation. Like for me personally, when I started watching Arrow, in the first couple of seasons, I really liked it. I think after the halfway point in season 3, it really nosedived. And I think a lot of that is just because of the expansion, doing Flash, then Supergirl, then Legends of Tomorrow, and then they've got Black not Black Adam, Black Lightning. And it's just, you get to that point where it's like that thing that I just talked about with my DVD collection. If you had no other DVDs, if you had nothing else you watched, but you just got all of the Arrowverse, what is it, like 8 seasons of Arrow, 6 or 7 of The Flash, 5 or 6 of Supergirl, 3 of Legends? You're talking like 20 seasons of television just for one universe. If you want to, when would you watch all that again? You're not going to be able to. And I think it's that. I think that idea of just having to have all of these in order to have the complete picture. Whereas Smallville, you got 10 seasons, boom, it ended. Even that, it probably went on too long. Well, no doubt about it. It did go on a bit too long, to be honest. But it's contained. You don't have to go off and watch a sister show afterwards. And it's just like, great, I've got my 10 seasons, can stick with that. It had an ending. Boom. The Arrowverse now, I don't know how or when that's going to end. They'll just keep adding to it and adding to it. But yeah, that takes the sheen off for me personally. Again, another long-winded answer from me there. I do have a tendency to rant. That is something I've noticed, and it's something I'm working on. And failing miserably. Dale, Cody and CP will respect Critters if you respect Friday the 13th and TCM. Troy, I probably shouldn't say what I'm about to say, then don't say it. Hold on. Right. Hot Pockets Rock. Have you watched California starring Brad Pitt? If so, what are your thoughts? I've watched it many, many times, in fact. Not seen it for years, but back in the day when it came out, because I'm a huge X-Files fan, massive X-Files fan, okay? That it was like in the 90s, early 90s, well, early to mid, late. In the 90s, there were 2 shows that I was just addicted to, and I had them all recorded off TV, and then when they came to video, I bought them. Then when they came to DVD, I bought them, and now that they've gone to Blu-ray, I've bought them. And that is the X-Files and Batman the Animated Series. But yeah, my love for the X-Files still to this day stands. And yeah, at its peak, I went round and I bought everything that Duchovny was in, or tried to see everything Duchovny was in, and everything that Gillian Anderson was in. And California was one of the ones that kind of stuck, where I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. So I did watch it quite a bit as a teenager. I did revisit it when I was about 29, 30 years old. And it didn't quite hold up as well. There were a few things in the writing that seemed quite heavy-handed to me, but it's still a pretty decent flick, I think. Some good performances in there, and it's a study on violence and evil and mental illness, I guess. So yeah, it's a good film. I perhaps need to revisit once more. What are you doing, Stepbro? I don't know what that is. Sorry. I miss half of the letters. Hey Brian, it's Lewis. Hey Lewis, how you doing? Long time no see. Yeah, long time no see indeed. I have a question for you, bro. Favorite John Candy movie? I'm pretty sure we've been over this before, but it's been a long time since I've seen Planes, Trains and Automobiles, but I remember liking that when I saw it as a teenager. It's not clear enough in my memory, in my mind, to be able to make a definitive statement on that. So I would have to go with Cool Runnings at this point, just because. But I have a feeling that if I saw Planes, Trains and Automobiles again, that would probably be my favorite. Robert Alex, is it Alex or Alexa? Alex, I think. Is that a silent E? Sorry if I've butchered that. I'm gonna say Robert Alex. Correct me if I'm wrong. You won't be happy with at least one of them about Critters. I'm pretty sure I won't, to be honest. Every year they do something to offend me, and they say that I'm the one who's off his face. I mean, you saw that Action 31, right? CP's Lethal Weapon rankings. Blimey, good grief. Okay, Robert Alex, Fincher, Tarantino, Villeneuve. Yes, I always forget Tarantino. I don't know why. You know, he's an incredible director. Love all his films. And when I'm doing that, yeah, you know, when people say your Mount Rushmore of directors, Tarantino just never seems to pop into my head. And then like somebody mentions him, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course, Tarantino. Duh. Dale, my favorite John Candy movies, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Good choice, Dale. Robert Alex, best Sorkin script. Oh man, that's it's a choice between Social Network and Steve Jobs, I would say. And his really one is his best script. Try the first 3 seasons of The West Wing. First 4, I should say. First 4 seasons of The West Wing. Yeah, Social Network. Only because I've seen that more than Steve Jobs. I need to give Steve Jobs another watch, actually, but that was an incredible script as well. You know, to what he did with that, to take, because just the concept of Steve Jobs, you know, when they talked about it, it was dull. It's like, how do you know, we're told we're going to get these 3 acts that are essentially in one location. Like each act is in a different location. The 3 conferences within the life of Steve Jobs, and it's just about the drama that goes on during these conferences. And it's like, okay, that sounds thrilling. But you know, because it was Sorkin writing, I was there. Definitely sign me up. But he finds a way to pull out drama to make it engrossing through the dialogue and through the character development. So yeah, fantastic. But Social Network, I reckon. I'm trying to make it. Okay. Stiff Kittens reviews. Have you seen Michael Winterbottom's 9 songs? I've not. Is there a line where artsy films can cross over into porn? Yes, there is, and that would be it. I've not seen it. I have. I know what it is. You know, I'm aware of the concept, and it is porn. It is. There's no 2 ways about it. They're not simulating sex. You know, they're having sex on screen. That's porn. It's just it crosses a line for me. You know, it's like, I think, yeah. I won't get into it because I'm sure everybody had their own thoughts on that, and you probably don't want to hear me getting political or anything like that. But yeah, I think it crosses the line into porn, and I've not even seen it. And I know you shouldn't judge a film until you have seen it, but you know, when they're telling me, yes, this is a film in which there are 9 sex scenes and none of them are simulated, they literally go to public places and have sex. It's like, and you filmed it. No other word for it. It's like they come up with all these excuses as to how, you know, why it needed to be done, and it's like, no, it didn't. It didn't need to be done. It's like, come up with whatever justification you want. You could have simulated those scenes and got the same effect. They're actors. Act, you know. Robert Alex, Edgar Wright, Zack Snyder, and Paul Thomas Anderson, of course. That's another one. Like, Paul Thomas Anderson is like contender for me for best director working today. You know, if I did that Mount Rushmore, strong chance he'd be on it. Magnolia, Boogie Nights, There Will Be Blood. Just incredible films. Absolutely incredible films. Cody Leach, hey man, damn, that's a 6-year stream right there. Yes, it is. Thank you. And thank you for pointing me to StreamYard. Let's have a look. We've had that. Do I have any more manners? Yes, I'm enjoying having these things on here. Look at this. I don't need to say it. I can just pop it up. You may not know I have that channel. I don't need to tell you about it because it's right there in the comments. Not in the comments, in the bottom of the screen, the lower third, as they call it. Check that bad boy out. Get in. Right. Enough of that. Back to the comments. Where did that go? Oh, so annoying. I don't know why that jumps. If you could see what I'm looking at, you'd get me, but it's just... So I've got the comments on the right here, and for some reason, on some occasions, I touch the mouse, and then it jumps right down to the bottom. So I need to go back up and find you. Here we go. Right, there we are. Okay, what's that film? So this is Lewis. What's that film called? DiCaprio about dreams time. Inception. Yeah, one of the best films ever made. That would be Lewis. Thoughts on Peter Strickland? He has made 4 films and they are all genius. Well, at the risk of looking like an idiot, I'm going to have to look him up because I'm not quite sure who that is or if I've even seen his work. Peter Strickland. We've got a few here. Director. Let's have a look. Peter Strickland. No, I've heard of the Duke of Burgundy and I've heard of Barbarian Sound Studio, but I've not seen any of his movies. Has he just done... Oh, he's got 15 credits, mostly shorts. But yeah, no, I've not. I will definitely... Yeah, he's definitely on my radar, though. I will endeavour to check out something he's done. Evening, Mr. Lomax. Crappiest film you've seen this week? That's from Filthy Dan's film discussion. Crappiest film I've seen this week. Well, to be quite honest, I've not seen many films this week because it's been a bit of a rough one. I've had a lot to do this week, and on top of it, I've had surgery. So I was in hospital on Sunday for surgery. Nothing life threatening, so nothing to worry about. But I had surgery nonetheless, and bit of discomfort. So let me just have a look. Oh! I was just looking on Letterboxd to find out, and I definitely have an answer for you. The worst film, the crappiest film I've seen this week is The Jesus Rolls. It's directed by John Turturro, and it is a sidequel, kind of semi-sequel to The Big Lebowski. So the character that he played in The Big Lebowski, Jesus, I can't remember his second name. He was hilarious in The Big Lebowski, to be honest. He was just like a cameo role. But yeah, he felt like he could get a full movie out of the character, and I'm sure had the Coen brothers sorted it instead of him, then maybe he would. There's something there, there's some interesting characters, and it's amusing in places, but for the most part, it's just two friends traveling around having sex with this other friend woman and not really going anywhere other than that. And it's just, yeah, it was just crap. Like you say, crappiest. I gave it 2 stars. Yeah, nicely shot, nicely acted, but doesn't amount to a hill of beans, really. Robert Alex, who are some of your least favourite directors besides the obvious choices? Well, Rob Zombie springs to mind. I don't know. Paul W.S. Anderson is... He's not... He's a bit of a weird one because he doesn't make stellar films, Paul W.S. Anderson. He just makes average movies. You know, they're good. A lot of his movies are good. They're entertaining. You can watch them. But as soon as they're over, that's it. You're done. They're like junk food. And I just feel like with the amount of money he gets given to play with, to kind of spew at the screen, I just feel like so many directors that are worth so much more in the talent department could do so much more with that money. And yet Paul Anderson constantly gets millions to play with that he, blows on really crappy computer game adaptations. But yeah, there you go. I'm just trying to think of some others. There's definitely some that when I see their name, I'm like, no way do I want to watch that. But I honestly can't think right now. Where are we? Yeah, some of it. Lewis, what do you guys rate Inception? Only seen it once, but really want to watch it again. I give it a 5 out of 5. It's an absolute classic, and it's in my top 20 movies of all time. So, yeah. Cody Leach, The Batman was delayed again to 2022. Describe your infuriation using a Texas Chainsaw movie title. Not worth my time, but I am infuriated. I found out about the Batman being delayed just before I came onto this stream, to be honest, and I was just like, oh, damn it, damn you, movie gods. Yeah, at least I got to see Tenet this year. I'm also a bit brassed off that Dune has been moved as well, because I was really looking forward to that one. Yeah. Trauma King, have you seen To Catch a Killer from 1992 about John Wayne Gacy? I have. I've seen it a few times. I think it's a really great made-for-TV movie, and I think that Brian Dennehy's performance in that is incredible. It's one of the best made-for-TV movies ever made, I would say. It's a very good procedural. I like the attention to detail. I like they don't go for what's the word, sensationalism. They just try to keep it real, and I really respect that. A bit like Zodiac, David Fincher's Zodiac. That's what I love about that film, is the attention to detail, the fact that it feels very much like this is what happened. We're just giving you the facts. This is how the case was investigated, and it was very good. So I have seen it, and I think anyone who hasn't should definitely check it out. Especially seeing as we did lose Brian Dennehy pretty recently. It's one of his best performances, I think. Cody Leach, I swear if you come back with some BS about Breaking Bad, I'm going to launch you and Lindsay off this planet. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Stick Kittens reviews a character in Nolan's film Following is called Cobb, like DiCaprio's character. Yeah, I've talked about this when we did our stream on. Did we do? What did we do? We talked about no. Yeah, so we did. I don't know what's going on with my brain at the minute. The drugs. Okay, so yeah, we did a stream on Nolan after Tenet. That was me, Cody, and CP. And one of the things that I've noticed, or one of the things that I posited, was that in many ways, Inception is kind of the spiritual successor to Following. And Following is about this, underneath Cobb is this guy who plants an idea into the main character's head in a roundabout way. And then I just find it quite amusing that Nolan would then go on many years later to make Inception, in which the lead character is called Cobb, and he's trying to plant an idea into this guy's head. So it's not that the Cobb in Following is trying to plant an idea in his head; he's already done it. When at the start of the film, he manipulates this guy to such a degree that he's able to control him. He's able to get him to do what he wants him to do, and that's what his character is about. Yeah. And so that that's definitely something with Nolan there. I think if he's going to have a manipulator like that, someone who gets people to think the way that he wants, he's going to call him Cobb. So yeah, I find it interesting. So YouTube has joined the chat. Cody Leach, I'll throw a blurry copy of Black Xmas in the shuttle and hit the red button. You're not wrong for thinking I'm insane. I've no doubt about it. Excellent choice. I'd reiterate Mindhunter on Netflix is great. 2 series. Yeah, I do need to see Mindhunter. That is the one that David Fincher is involved in, isn't it? I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. What are your thoughts on Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Not seen it for years, but I watched it quite a bit as a kid. Kind of scared the crap out of me in many ways. There's some stuff in that is really dark for young children, but it was really well made. And Robert Zemeckis is a great director anyway. So, yeah. Robert, Alex, Gremlins, Critters. You just need to swap them around, mate. You've got it wrong. You're wrong. Are you a fan of Hong Kong films like A Chinese Ghost Story or 80s Jackie and Sammo Hung actioners? I am. I've not watched anywhere near the amount that I should. To say that I'm someone who just said yes, I am. I like them. I saw quite a few Jackie Chan movies when I was younger, but I do like Japanese cinema. I like I like the films of Akira Kurosawa, people like that. I like Takashi Miike. I've been picking up quite a few of his movies lately. I just picked this. I don't know if you can see it. This is a box set from Arrow, Graveyard of Honor. So it's got 2 movies, Japanese movies. So there's like one from, I think it was 70s, 1975, by a Japanese filmmaker called Graveyard of Honor. It's an adaptation of some famous book. And yeah, in more recent years, Takashi Miike made one. and they've put them together. Arrow have put them both together in this box set. Never seen them, don't know anything about them, never heard of them until I saw this box set, saw that Takashi Miike's name was on it, and I thought, yeah, go on, I'll check that out. So Takashi Miike has actually made over 100 feature films. That is mind-boggling to me. When I see that anyone has made 100 feature films, Blade of the Immortal was his 100th, and it's a really incredible film. It's a really great samurai epic kind of and supernatural samurai epic. But yeah, when you're putting out that kind of quality of content, and you've made 100 movies, I would imagine you go back, you watch a lot of his earlier stuff, it's going to be really crap. But I reckon he'll be someone who really learnt his craft across a lot of his early work, and then in the early noughties he'd honed it, and then he really started putting out some great movies that people started to take notice of. But I look at that 100 movies on your CV that you've directed, and that just blows my mind. Aladdin is my favorite animated movie. It's a good one. Dale, what's the worst cartoon you've ever seen on Nickelodeon? For me, it's the Fred movies. I don't know. Couldn't tell you because I've never really watched Nickelodeon. I don't really have it. Stiff Kittens reviews. Batman: The Mask of the Phantasm is still the best theatrical Batman film. Sure. I've said before that anyone who says that, I'm not really going to argue with him, because I can understand why you would say that. It is a masterpiece. It's great. Brilliant film. Personally, I'm all about the Nolan trilogy, but before the Nolan trilogy came out, I was definitely all about Mask of the Phantasm. So I still am. It's a great film. Love it, love it, love it. And Robert said, I'm sure you'd pick Mask of the Phantasm to watch, though. Like I said, I did say, in my early comments, that despite that I don't pick animated movies off the shelf, when it comes to the majority of them, I do still favor the DC stuff. So yeah, Mask of the Phantasm is one I would quite happily take off the shelf. When you type the scene 19 word, your message gets deleted. Really? Is that true? That's bizarre. Flipping it. Okay, best Pierce Brosnan Bond movie is GoldenEye. Sorry, mistake, slip of the tongue. Best Pierce Brosnan movie is The World Is Not Enough. Second favorite is GoldenEye. GoldenEye used to be my first choice, but over the years, I gravitate more towards The World Is Not Enough. I think that it's a super underrated Bond film. I'd flip between the two, to be honest. I have done a ranking. I did a ranking video on the Brosnan Bonds, and honestly, I can't remember which one I put at number one now. But off the top of my head, in this moment, I'm going to say The World Is Not Enough. Underrated. You four have badass chemistry together. I think so too. Thanks, Dale. Will Smith, with all the Arrowverse universe, it is cool, but if don't have magic of Smallville, why do you think it's like? Why have we gone back up there? Were you offended I sent you the TCM artwork with the Bates Motel? I wouldn't say I was offended. I was confused. confused. Yeah. So just what Jordan is talking about. So Jordan sent me this rather lovely. Oh, well, get it. I can't. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of the Psycho movies, and I'm also a really big fan of Bates Motel, the TV series, which is arguably better than the Psycho movies. So if you've not checked that out, please do. But yeah, he sent me this. Also inside was a signed poster of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yes, I couldn't hide the disdain for that, but I do thank you greatly for the Bates Motel one. The Bates Motel one more than makes up for the TCM indiscretion. But yeah, I have no love for TCM at all. I have no compulsion to ever watch any of them again. So yeah, sorry. But no, not offended, just a bit confused. Rod Dog, I called the Alien franchise for 31 and 31. Yes, you did. Stiff Kittens reviews. Amazon have done a remake of Channel 4's Utopia. And it is. All right. Okay. Aside from Critters, what's your favourite franchise in this year's 31 on the 31st? Well, I'm not going to tell you, Dale, because if I told you, that might give my number one away, you know? So you'll have to find out, along with everyone else. Sorry. Yeah, so you have to wait on that one, I'm afraid. When is the next Brits on Flicks podcast? Well, Ash, now may not be the best time to tell you, but Graham and I, we've decided to do something a bit different. We plugged away at the Brits on Flicks podcast for a few years. We were getting some listeners, but we weren't really getting any kind of feedback, or there's no real sign that people were engaging. And I've kind of always been of the mind that if you know, it's not that I need. I don't know what the word is, but you don't want to be doing something creative that you feel is just going into the ether. If you feel like no one's really engaging with it, then it's kind of, what's the point? But I love Graham. We're really good friends, so I still want to do stuff with him. I still want to record a podcast with him. So what we've decided to do is, we were doing X-Files reviews on the Brits on Flicks podcast sporadically, and so basically we're going to be doing that. So we've set up another podcast called the X-Files Revisited. We're going to be going through every episode of the X-Files, and I'm afraid, yeah, Brits on Flicks is it's kind of dead. Yeah, for the foreseeable future, at any rate. I don't think it'll be coming back anytime soon. I don't know. You know, never say never. But yeah, X-Files Revisited, we haven't got going yet. We've not. Yeah, basically, we'll be re-uploading the X-Files episodes that we did for Brits on Flicks. We'll be uploading them on their own, you know, proper X-Files Revisited podcast stream, and then we will be reviewing all the, you know, the rest of the series. So yeah, sorry if but yeah. Okay. Alien 3 will be the seed of Chucky situation all over again. Sean and Cody and maybe even CP will put it dead last. And Bryan probably 14. Lol. I don't think so. I think Cody's probably going to be the one that puts it the lowest out of the three of us. Four of us, I should say. Or is it five? I honestly can't remember who's joining us on that one. Yeah, I think Cody's going to be the one who puts it lowest. But I think there are a lot of films. I'll say this much: it's half and half this year. This year's 31. If I could pick any October version of the 31 that we've done, if I had to get rid of the movies from all the other 31s and just pick one 31, I would pick this year's. But that's because the top 10, top 15 is proper stacked. It's like some of the best movies out of any of the 31s, 31 on 31s that we've done. But having said that, the bottom half, the bottom 15, you're getting into full-on turd territory. There doesn't seem to be much middle ground with this year's 31. It's like a load of crap and then loads of real classic, great films. And it's just because of how good that top end is that, yeah, if I could only pick one set of films from the 31 on 31s we've done, it probably would be this year's, despite all the crap that's on it. Yeah, Bryan, problem with shows is that they got long seasons. Old ones got 22 to 23 episodes per season. It is really too much sometimes. It is. I enjoy the more modern take of doing like 10 episodes in a season. You can binge watch that in a couple of nights. It's a lot better to handle. Favorite Scorsese films? Dorito Chip Gamer. His is Taxi Driver. I'm not that big on Taxi Driver, if I'm being perfectly honest. My favorite two Scorsese films are Hugo and Silence. Favorite Fincher film? Mine is Fight Club. Rewatched, absolutely amazing. I'm not going to give the Fincher one away just yet, just because I am slowly making my way through Fincher again with regards to reviews, and I will be doing a ranking at the end of that. So I'll let it out then, I guess. Favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film? Mine is Magnolia. It's in my top 5 movies of all time. It's just brilliantly written. It's very layered. It's very dense. You feel like you've had a workout when you watched it, but you feel spiritually rejuvenated as a result. Kind of like going through the valley of the shadow of death and then coming out the other end. It's an absolute masterpiece. I do love There Will Be Blood as well. There Will Be Blood is a strong contender, and There Will Be Blood is in my top 20 movies of all time. So but Magnolia, I would say. Christina Healy, have you seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer and did you like it? It's my favorite show of all time. I watched it when it first came out, not all of it. I watched season 1, and how old would I have been? When did it come out? Was it 96? 96 or 97, I think, was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think it was 96. So I would have been 16. I watched it the first season, really liked it to the point that, I bought it on DVD. And then season 2 came out. I got a year older and I enjoyed it. It started to get a bit too soap opera-esque with, the relationship between Angel and Buffy and that. And then I think by season 3, I'd kind of lost interest. It's not my favorite show. I do get called crazy for saying that I think Smallville is a better show. I know the problems with Smallville. Then I don't have blinkers on in that regard. I know Smallville's got a lot of issues, but I get more out of that show than I do with Buffy, to be honest. Last time has Bryan actually read that? What's that in reference to? Oh, when did that happen? Oh, sorry, Aaron. I've only just noticed. I'm just getting used to the layout on this this software, and I've only just noticed that you gave a super chat. Thank you for that. That is very much appreciated. And you asked what movie has the most underlying subtext in it. Whoa, that's that is a mean question, dude. That's I couldn't. I'm gonna have to give you an answer. You just laid down that gauntlet. But I think it's gonna be a Kubrick, I would say. I think when you look at The Shining, they've made films about the subtext in that film. There's a whole documentary, Room 237, that is literally all about the subtext in that film. So certainly a contender. But again, Eyes Wide Shut, another Kubrick film. I think that when you so many people have so many theories about Eyes Wide Shut and the Illuminati and all that, which personally I find to go a little bit too far. I think people, I do think Stanley Kubrick was a genius. He is one of my favorite directors of all time. But sometimes I think people's need or desire to paint him as such a genius causes them to stretch theories about his thinking just a little bit too far. And yeah, I think Eyes Wide Shut may be a case in point. But if people can read that stuff into it, then it just shows that the film is built in such a way that it requires such reading from people. Another one I would say is David Lynch. So I wouldn't pinpoint a specific film of his because I can't say I've seen a lot of his work, but the films of his I have seen frustrate the crap out of me. Lynch to me feels like someone who doesn't really have a master plan, but just throws so much kind of nonsense at the screen and tells people, well, there's something definitely in there, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because I prefer you to bring your own reading to it. And I'm like, that's suspect, mate. But Mulholland Drive, I saw Mulholland Drive fairly recently. I didn't like it personally. I found it a bit too pretentiously arty. I would say it's definitely got a load of subtext. It's definitely one of those films where you can watch it again and again and read different things into it. And I know there's a lot of theories out there about what it all means. But for me personally, I prefer a clearer vision. I don't want everything spelled out to me. I do like to be able to think, but I also like to feel that the director has something very specific to say. And I'm not saying Lynch doesn't. It's just the way that he does it ain't for me. But definitely a film that has a lot of subtext. But for me personally, I'd go with Kubrick, probably Eyes Wide Shut, but The Shining certainly, like I say, has had films made on that very subject. So thank you for the question, and thank you for the super chat, Aaron. Where are we? Have you seen Buffy the Vampires? Oh, we've been there. We've done that. Favorite Wes Anderson film? There's quite a few Wes Anderson films that I feel I need to rewatch. I've seen all of his movies. I think if I was pushed on it, if I had to answer, I would probably go with the Royal Tenenbaums. I don't know why. His films all have that same kind of flavor, but yeah, I do like him as a director, but he's not my go-to or anything. I don't own all of his work or anything. But so what was that one? The Darjeeling Limited, I thought was quite an underrated one for him. From what I can tell, it doesn't seem to get as much of a mention as a lot of his other work, and yeah, I think it's one of his better ones. Rod Dog, do you have any favorite books? I'm not much of a reader, it must be said. The stuff I tend to read is things like this that are, film related. So the Stanley Kubrick archives, Kermode on film, those kind of things. I read my Bible. I can tell you what my favorite books of the Bible are. I find that if I have the time to read a book, then chances are I would rather spend that time watching a film. I've started reading a lot of children's books lately just because I have a 6-year-old who, we read a story to every night. So, and I do have a favorite children's book from when I was a child, which has stuck with me. And I actually read to my own, my daughter just a few weeks ago for the first time, which is Boris the Tomato, which is an incredible book, which, kind of packages the whole genocidal Second World War, Hitler, dictator type kind of deal and puts it into a story that kids could relate to, about a tomato that wants to take over the world. So check that out. But no, I'm not a big reader. I'd like to say I am. I wish I was highbrow enough to reel off a whole list of books that I've read, but I don't. I'm not a big reader. Okay. Tommy Gibbons, hey Bryan, have you seen The Warriors from 1979? And if so, what are your thoughts? Funnily enough, I saw The Warriors not so long ago, actually, for the first time. It is one that had been on my list for quite a while. I remember when I used to work at a cinema, there was a chap there, Simon, really, really funny dude. He was one of the managers there, and his favorite film was The Warriors. And whenever I heard about The Warriors, it always makes me think of him. It's funny how films do that. I was a bit lukewarm to it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I like the concept, and it's a concept that I've seen done, in other movies as well. Just that whole idea of you have a group of people that are in a place, like you think about Judgment Night, 16 Blocks, films like that, where you got a person or persons that are in one place. They've got to get to another place, and there are people in between trying to stop them. It's simple. It's write the plot on the back of a postage stamp, and it's really all about, well, how do you execute that? And I feel like, I don't know, I was just lukewarm to it. The action doesn't really grab me all that much. The characters aren't really likable, which you know, I get why. They're gangs. They're criminal gangs. So yeah, why would they be likable? But yeah, I don't know. Genuine anti-heroes, I guess. Well, they're not heroes in any way, but yeah, I wasn't that keen for a film that has been lauded as quite the classic in many quarters. When I eventually got around to seeing it, I was a bit let down. Sorry to say. But yeah, there you go. Okay, so let's have a look. More comments. Alfred Rod Dog. How Alfred Hitchcock was actually on a Mount Rushmore in the North by Northwest poster. That's pretty cool. Alfred Hitchcock would probably be on my Mount Rushmore. I notice Razor Wire Reviews is in here now. You got a shout out earlier, mate. You got a shout out. Where have I gone? I've jumped ahead by the look of it. Blimey, I'm well off, aren't I? Well off. Okay. My apologies to everyone in the chat, just because I do take so long to get through these. I'm recognizing that, yeah, there's been a lot of comments and I'm nowhere near getting to the end of them. I'll try and whiz through some of these. I'm sorry if I skip some of your questions. It's just, yeah. I'm waffling on too much, and I will need to finish in the next 10 or so minutes. So I'll go through and pick some out that look interesting for me. Bryan has like the quietest rants. I try not to get too loud because I don't want certain language to come out of my mouth that I would rather not have on my channel, to be honest. I try to exercise a bit of control over what I'm saying, but it has its limits. Dale, what's the best live action Resident Evil movie? I would say it was the third one. I can't remember the title. Is it Extinction? It's the Mad Max rip-off kind of version one. Mostly because it's not directed by Paul Anderson. It's by the director of Highlander. But for me, that was the best one. Bryan's Terminator 3 rant was hilarious, and he didn't even swear. No, well, see, there you go. I try not to. Stiff Kittens reviews. I knew nothing about the sex scenes in 9 songs and just bought it for live music performances in a second-hand store. Well, there you go. Favorite Harry Potter movie? That's from Aaron Anderson. My favorite Harry Potter movie is Order of the Phoenix. Funnily enough, me and my wife have just watched all the Harry Potters. We were going to do a video together. My wife was actually going to join me in a video. We were going to rank the Harry Potters together. But my wife's memory isn't that great when it comes to films. If she doesn't give her thoughts on the film there and then, she'll just forget, especially if you watch a whole series of them. So by the time we got to the end of them, she couldn't remember what bits were in what and which ones she liked best and this, that, and the other. So the video wouldn't have worked out that well. But yeah, Order of the Phoenix for me is the best one. I've never read the books. I am told that Order of the Phoenix is the one that is least like the book. It is also the only Harry Potter movie to have a different writer. I can't remember the name of the writer for them. I usually can, but yeah, for whatever reason, he didn't write the script for Order of the Phoenix, and yet that's the best version. And I feel that is because he tries to be really faithful to the books, too faithful, I think. Whereas the writer for Order of the Phoenix thought, actually, this isn't a book, this is a film. What works best for a film? Where's the conflict? Stick with that. And that's why the film, for me at any rate, is the best one of the bunch. Rod Dog, what do you think about David Lean's films? I think they're beautifully shot. Absolutely. Can't say I've seen all of his work. Far from it. He is a director, actually, that I do need to see more of. I've seen Bridge on River Kwai. I've seen the first half of Lawrence of Arabia, and I saw Brief Encounter, not to be confused with Brief Encounters, but yeah, I'm sure there's another one of his that I've seen. But yeah, he knows how to use the camera. Very influential on Steven Spielberg, and I can see why. So yeah, Jesus Roll was very disappointing. Yes, Glyn, it certainly was. Dale, Bryan, did you ever have any really bad school experiences? Not to get personal, but I kind of need advice on how to handle people. Just have an idea of how to handle things in the future. I did have bad school experiences. I hated school. Absolutely hated it. And for me, school is just a survival experience. If you come out of school and you're still alive, then you've done well. But I can tell you this, the qualifications you walk away with from school mean absolutely nothing. Okay? I'm sure some people will tell you differently, and they will tell you not to heed my words, but I came out of school with nothing, right? I say nothing. I got a food studies GCSE grade C. Well, I've used that to great effect, haven't I? And I got an English language grade C. That's it. Everything else, I got lower than a C, which basically means I didn't pass. So yeah, I came out of high school with nothing really. I have a master's degree now. I've got a degree and a master's degree. I set up my own business, and you know, it's just I don't say that to brag. I say that to say, look, if you want something and you need the education to do it, which you do. I don't diss education. I think you definitely need education, but it don't come from school. And I think Pete, when you go to college, and particularly when you go to university, people have a different mindset because they've chosen to be there. They're not kids anymore. They've not been forced into an environment they don't really want to be in. The cliques don't quite exist in the same way. So for me, school, hated it. If you can survive it, if you can get through it, fair play to you, good on you. Don't beat yourself up about failing. Don't beat yourself up about coming out with no grades, because that's what happened to me. And then I went college, got my maths GCSE, got a couple of other GCSEs. I used that to go to college again to get a BTEC National Diploma, and that allowed me to go on and do a degree. But all that stuff I chose to do, and because I chose it, I wanted to be there, and the environments that I was that I were in were different. They were a bit more mature. People wanted to be there a bit more. The cliques didn't quite exist as much. And by the time I was doing my degree, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I did have bad experiences. To the point where actually in my fourth year of high school, I had a breakdown, a nervous breakdown. I didn't know it at the time, but my mum had to come in and collect me. I flipped out big time. Nearly took someone's head off. My mum wasn't too pleased about him to come in, but I didn't know any different. It had been building and building for goodness knows how long. just from name calling and stuff. Like at school, I wish people had just come over and hit me if they had a problem. If someone hits you, you can hit back. That's the thing. So you may not win the fight, but just the satisfaction of being able to hit back is, if you want to hit me, fine, hit me, but I'll have a go back. You may put me down, but I'm going to go down fighting. But if somebody calls you names, you can't do anything with that. And when somebody calls you names for about 3 years straight, it wears you down. So yeah, like I say, I had a nervous breakdown. I didn't know it was a nervous breakdown. It was only a few years after I was talking to someone who'd had nervous breakdowns and had been medically diagnosed with various conditions, and she was telling me the experience of going through that, of what it was like when she had a breakdown, and everything she said about it, boom, just ticked all the boxes of what I'd gone through in that moment. And I realized that actually that's what had happened to me, and I'd had a breakdown. So yeah, school, hated it. I actually homeschool now my kids. So I've got a 6-year-old daughter. We homeschool her. I'm not against school. I think it works for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. I don't think that, I'm not going to say everyone should take their kids out of school, but I don't think everybody should force their kids in school. I think, my kid doesn't want to go to school, and I'm not going to force her. So there you go. So I don't know what I could offer in advice, if that's even what you were asking. Yes, you asked for advice. I don't really know what advice to give, other than to say, don't pin your future on the qualifications you walk away with from school. Okay? Because if you come out of school with nothing but the clothes on your back, you still have a future, right? It's not the be all and end all. I don't know what your parents are like. I don't know if you have overbearing parents who feel like you have to get good grades and all that. It really doesn't matter. Okay. If you come out of school with nothing, you can always go college, do resits, then get a real education in university. And okay, you might be a bit older than everyone else by the time you finished it all, but that's what happened to me. Anyway, I don't know if that helps. It probably doesn't, but you asked. Sorry. Terry Clark, thoughts on Exorcism of Emily Rose? I do tend to avoid spiritual horror just because of my spiritual beliefs, but I thought Exorcism of Emily Rose was a really good film. I thought the message that it has at its core, at the heart of it, was one worth telling. And I think the performances in it are really great. And I think the direction by Scott Derrickson is also top notch. So yeah, really good film. Let me have a look. Luke, listening in at work, entertain me. Oh, okay. I do not entertain. Are you not entertained? Also, I watched Candyman for the first time this week. Have you seen it? And what's your opinion? If so, yes, love Candyman. It's one of my favorite horror movies. I think it's absolutely incredible. I've got the special edition Arrow box set, and it's one of my pride and joys. It's a great horror film. For me, it's better than Halloween. If you look at the big three, I don't think any of the big three have a film that is as good as that first Candyman. Shame about the sequels, but we won't go there. Clint Parson, I know you're a Critters fan. What do you think of 4? I'm not a fan. I like Attacks more than 4. Ooh. I think Critters 4 has a big problem in the sense that where's the critters? The Krites don't even show up until what feels like 2/3 of the way through the film. Yeah, there's not much critter action in Critters 4, which is biggest down side, and it's trying to do too much with too little, and it shows. I can honestly buy why somebody would say it's not a good film, but Critters Attack, oh man, there's got a lot of Critters action in it, but the script is dire. The performances are dire. It's just, yeah, it makes me want to vomit a little bit in the back of my throat. Thoughts on The Strangers? Didn't like it. Yeah, I thought it was rubbish, to be honest. I thought the sequel was better, but not really saying much. Hey Tanner, Aaron, yeah, Strangers films were a hard watch for me personally. Yeah, me too, mate. Let me have a look. I need to zip through some of these because I'm going to have to wrap up shortly. Just check my messages. See if my wife is in need at all. No, nothing there. Okay, so Chelsea Martin, thoughts on the new Craft movie? I haven't seen the trailer yet. I'm not the biggest fan of the original Craft movie. I don't quite understand why all of a sudden the original is being held up as this absolute classic. It's almost like the Flatliners thing. You know, like Flatliners was always a good film. It was never a classic in my mind. And then when the remake was announced, all of a sudden, Flatliners is this untouchable classic. And it's like, really? And I feel like The Craft is the same. It was always it's a good film. It's nothing spectacular. I watched it when it came out and I thought, yeah, all right, you do your thing. But yeah, I have no thoughts really on the remake. Like I said, I've not seen the trailer, but it's not like they're making remaking The Shining or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's like when Mike Flanagan said he was making Doctor Sleep and he was doing it as a direct sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. That gave me pause for thought. That made me think, dude, seriously? And thankfully he rose to the occasion. But yeah, doing a remake to The Craft to me is like doing a remake to Flatliners. It was a good film, but you're not going to offend me even if you make a bad film, because the original was hardly a classic. Although I would say the original Flatliners is better than the original Craft. So yeah. There we go. Favorite Scooby-Doo film? Honestly, couldn't tell you, mate. I can't say I've watched them in full. If you had to remove Heath Ledger from The Dark Knight or Christopher Nolan as director, which one would it be? Sorry if this offends me. You couldn't do it. I know it wouldn't. Ledger's performance wouldn't be what it is without Nolan directing it. And the film overall obviously wouldn't be what it is without Ledger's performance. It's just the two go hand in hand. It's not. Let's say you do remove Nolan's direction, you're not going to have the same performance by Heath Ledger. Let's say you have all the same cast, but the only thing you change is the director. Let's say you throw Paul W.S. Anderson in there instead of Nolan. Even keep Nolan's script, maybe, but just take him away as director. It wouldn't be the same, because like Anderson would use all these jump cuts, MTV style editing. He'd make the film into an hour and a half. It's an impossible question to answer because the two go hand in hand. It's just, yeah. So I refuse. I refuse to answer it. Where are we? Bryan, your Schwarzenegger ranking, as well as Cody and Durban's, are all BS. We all know his best performance is Batman and Robin. Now I know you're just winding me up. The World Is Not Enough is underrated. Yes, yes, it is. Why would YouTube retract messages? Favorite Steven Spielberg film? I think his best is Munich. I think it's certainly his most underrated. It's very dark, gloomy. It's not one you're just going to bang on for. I'm just going to kill two hours with Munich, or 2 hours 20, whatever it is. Yeah, I think Munich is his best and most underrated. But it's not his most rewatchable. It's not the one I'm going to go back to again and again. But if I was doing a ranking, it would probably be the one I'd put at number one, just from a filmmaking and storytelling, hard-hitting kind of edge to it. Yeah. So, Luke. Bryan, do you like Hong Kong films? Bryan, yeah, talks about Japanese filmmakers. Yeah, I know. I did notice that, but I was just thinking Asian cinema in general, to be honest. Hong Kong stuff. I think Infernal Affairs is probably the favorite thing that I've seen Hong Kong wise. Yeah. Moving on. Thank you for that, Luke. Thank you for that. Favorite Charlie Kaufman film? You haven't seen any? Okay, I would say of what he wrote. Didn't he write? I'm sure he wrote Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I know he didn't direct it because that was Michel Gondry, but I think he wrote it. Let me just look at this. Charlie Kaufman, because I know Kaufman has directed as well. So yeah. So when you look at his body of work, just as a screenwriter as well, I would say Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is my favorite of his. I also really liked Adaptation. I don't like Being John Malkovich at all. Hated that film. But yeah, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I've not seen his more recent stuff, to be honest, but definitely Eternal Sunshine is up there for me as just not just as as a good film of his, but just as a great film. Period. So I don't know how much of that is down to him and how much of that is down to Michel Gondry, but certainly the pairing of those two on that film worked for whatever reason. So, yeah. Jordan Moran, the TCM artwork was purely to get rid of it. Well, thanks. I couldn't have got rid of it somewhere else. I'm sure you have a bin somewhere in your house. Dog Day Afternoon or Network? Only seen Dog Day Afternoon. I would say Dog Day Afternoon. I liked tongue-tied. I liked Network, and Network is certainly a big inspiration for a lot of the work of Aaron Sorkin, who is my favorite writer. But I feel like there are times in Network where I feel the script writing, like certain lines of dialogue that feels written. It doesn't feel like it's coming from a genuine real life person so much as a writer who's putting ideas into the characters' heads, into their mouths, so to speak. It's still a great film. Don't get me wrong. Network is a really great film. Definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it. But I do think Dog Day Afternoon is better. I think the dialogue is more natural in that. The characters are better drawn, I would say. But yeah, Sidney Lumet, I believe. Let me check on that, because I don't want to get any actuallys down in the comments. But Dog Day Afternoon, yeah, Sidney Lumet. So Sidney Lumet for me is a director that needs more praise. Absolutely needs more praise, because every film I've seen of his has just been stellar. Dog Day Afternoon, 12 Angry Men, Prince of the City. What was the other? It's gone out of my head. But yeah, I mean, Network as well was his, obviously, which is probably the reason you asked me the question. But yeah, just an incredible director who gets the best out of actors. So Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. That was the other one. That was a good one. Okay, right. I think I'm going to have to wrap up now, guys. I'm sorry I've not gotten to all of your. I'm flipping through these, and there's so many more here. I could go a bit longer. I want to go a bit longer, but I've got family to put to bed and whatnot. So Sean has said Alien 3 is his least favorite movie ever. Ever. Alien 3 ain't great, the theatrical cut, but ever? Least favorite film ever? Have you seen Sausage Party? Blimey. We'll have to have words, Sean, I tell you. Jack Petrie, hi Brian, wondering how you feel about some of the bigger TV series of the last 10 to 15 years. Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, etc. I haven't heard you speak about them before. If you check earlier on in this video, I talk about just that as it happens. All three of those shows I need to watch. Walking Dead isn't high on my list, though, to be honest, because of, it don't grab me. It does. Yeah, I probably won't get around to watching The Walking Dead, to be honest. But Game of Thrones, I definitely want to see, and Breaking Bad, I definitely want to see. Thoughts on Rosemary's Baby? Did not like it. If you check out, I have another channel called The Movie Evangelist. If you check out a video I did over on that channel on Hereditary. Everything I say about Hereditary, you can pretty much apply to Rosemary's Baby. So yeah, I didn't like Rosemary's Baby. Mostly the ending. I enjoyed the journey, hated the destination. So Shining's brilliant. Yes, it is. I think it's my second favorite horror film of all time. So, yep. Have you seen any of the documentaries on Stanley Kubrick? I've not. I need to. Really do. Do you have Zack Snyder in your top 10 favorite directors? I do. Controversial opinion. Yeah, that's Robert Alex. I don't know if he would make my top 10, but he is certainly high up on my list. He's certainly in my list of favorite directors, and he would probably be number one if I was doing a list of underrated directors. So yeah, I think Zack Snyder doesn't get anywhere near the love that he should be getting. So yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look. Oh, it's just jumped down. Right. Okay. I'm going to leave it there. I could go on. There's other questions I see, and I want to answer them, but I'll be here all night, so it'll never end. But I just want to say, thank you for joining me in the chat. I didn't know if this was this was going to attract anyone. I'm happy to see that it has. So yeah, thank you for joining me, everybody. It's been a pleasure, and I will hopefully be doing more of these in the future. Not necessarily Q&As, but live shows. I'll be open to ideas. If you want to throw some ideas at me for any live shows that you'd like to see, I'm toying with the idea of doing like a movie news related show. I don't know if that's something anyone would be interested in. I know there's a lot of them out there. So, but yeah, you know, if it is, let me know. Or if you have any other ideas, feel free to comment in the comment section and let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching, and until next time, cracking.